Good afternoon and welcome back to the Ask Dr. Renee show. If you've never watched the show before, this show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life you deserve. Because let's face it, we've only got one. We might as well enjoy it. We've had a rough few weeks recently, DMX, then Black Rob, and then Shock G. So these people are all relatively young. So you guys, let's live the life that we deserve and get out there and do whatever it is you want to do, as no matter how crazy it sounds. So my guest today understands that because he had a dream and he is, I believe, living the dream. But we'll hear from him. But in the past, we've had this season, we've been having lots of people to help you to get where your money resides, because I tell you, when you have money, you have options. So I've had the Queen of My Money team. I've had my trading coach, my money coach. So please look back at the past episodes. We have over 105, I think, episodes now. So you can always check the channel for that. I have to, of course, remind you guys to please comment, like, share. Watch parties have disappeared, so I will have to change this banner. But comment, like, share. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to know when there's new videos posted, because there's always new stuff over here. So without further, and one last thing, you guys, do join my mailing list. Text Live Life to 66866. 66866. That's where things come first before here. So definitely make sure you do that. But thank you so much. Today, our guest is Bryan Smiley. Can you hear me? Is he frozen? Oh, no. Uh-oh, he's frozen. Okay, you guys, we're going to keep it moving. And in a minute, he'll come back. One second.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there. Yes, yeah. Now we can.
I know.
Okay. Look, don't make me nervous. Okay, so we're going to talk real fast. So, Bryan, I always start the show with, what was it you wanted to do when you were growing up?
Well, I knew I wanted to be in the film business probably in high school, actually. So I started watching a lot of movies my 9th and 10th grade year. And at some point, I wanted to be a director. I started making kind of short movies in high school and entering them to different competitions around Michigan. I was a part of this group called, I forgot what it was called, but it was Detroit Public Schools. They had this class where if you were interested in film or TV, they gave you hands-on learning with camera and lighting equipment. So that was really instrumental in me kind of having a foundation for production. Then my father got me a camera. So I was in high school making movies, and then I went to film school in Chicago, a place called Columbia College. So I kind of knew pretty early on I wanted to be in the movie business.
So, of course, we have some Detroiters in the house. You have to tell them what high school you went to.
Renaissance, home of the mighty Phoenix.
So offline, I'll have to tell you that my lovely niece is killing the game over there. She took the basketball team to something very high in the States or something recently. And then she's on track there as well as cross country. So shout out to Christian Sanders, who is a Renaissance Phoenix.
Love it.
Varsity at freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Okay, just had to talk about my Christian. But Columbia College, if you've never heard of Columbia College, you guys, it is a big deal. First of all, more recently, Jonathan McReynolds teaches there because he did attend, right? I think he was a student there.
I believe so.
Yeah. Jonathan McReynolds in the gospel industry. He is a professor there. But there's a lot of Oscar, Emmy, Tony, a whole bunch of people that have attended Columbia College, which is actually not far from where I live in Chicago. So, somebody said, what up, though?
Lena Wade is an alumni of Columbia College.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Columbia College is a big deal.
Yeah.
So first we have to rewind back. I always tell everyone how I know my guests. So Bryan and I, we were destined to know each other. Our parents and our grandparents and all of our aunts and uncles have known each other their entire lives. So we basically are one big happy family. That's what your uncle said to me when I saw him one time. He's like, "Oh, we're family." I'm like, "Okay." But so we've known each other forever. And his mother is Reverend, and my mom is a priest, coincidentally. And so, and then the whole respiratory therapy thing, it's just too funny. We're just very parallel lives. But your mother is like my mother, though.
Yes.
She grew up in that era where this sounds crazy. So how did your mother get on board with this whole idea? Because Columbia College probably would not have been an option in the Matthews household.
I gotta say, I mean, my parents were very supportive of like anything I wanted to do. It was between Columbia and NYU, but I had family in Chicago. So my grandmother and aunt lived in a suburb of Chicago. So I would go there a lot as a kid. So it all just felt better. Chicago felt closer. And then Columbia College lets you shoot your first year, your freshman year, which at that time to me was really exciting. So, you know, they were really on board. It wasn't a lot to convince them.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, so you go to Columbia College, and Columbia College is not cheap either, you guys. That is not one of the more non-expensive schools, not to mention Chicago's an expensive city. So that is wonderful that your parents were behind you. So what did you major in at Columbia?
Yeah, so when I got there, I decided to focus more on the producing side. I've always been kind of like an entrepreneur, and I like the business, like business in general, but definitely the film business. I kind of was more attracted to that even than directing. So I was a producing major at Columbia.
Okay. So when you're about to leave Columbia, now I will tell you guys, Columbia College has this really awesome portal you can go to, and you can get interns in just about anything you think of that has to do with marketing, film editing. Yeah. So my first reel was created by a young lady who was a Columbia College student. I don't even know if you knew this. Columbia College student.
Yep.
Whom I had never met until I think 3 years after she gave it to me.
Yeah.
And so it's just amazing. And when you go into this portal, you can see who is looking for internships and who's looking for jobs, and because some people are looking for freelance. So how do you prepare to leave? And I actually did have a friend. I think I've introduced you to my friend Mercedes. She was a student there who also worked in whatever office to help people with their portfolios or something, I remember. So is that something that you did before you left? And
before LA?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So Columbia has a program where if you are in film, I think now it's TV as well, you could spend a semester in LA. So my last year, I did 2 semesters, was in Los Angeles, where we had classes in LA. Speakers came in every single day. It was more like a lecture kind of format. And really, that was a great way to network and meet people. So when I graduated, I kind of had a really small network that helped me get work kind of right away. So I had like a transitional year from Chicago under the care of the school, at dorm style situation. So that was really the best thing I could have done.
Wow. So the second intern I had, she did that semester in LA.
Yeah.
She was actually the one that was creating the teasers for my episodes for this show. And she did probably like 20 or so. And then she's like, I can't keep up. I'm in LA. I was like, it's okay. But, and actually we've never met. That me and her never met. But the first one, we went and had coffee. But so that's really cool because, that's one thing about this industry. It's so hard, people say, to get into.
Yeah.
But that's really cool that you were able to get that, first leg in the door, kind of like even with my sister doing co-ops while we were at Michigan State, which is how she kind of got into her engineering jobs right away because she had been working and creating that network before she left. So that's really cool. And I always tell people networking is so important.
Yeah.
It's
everything.
Yes. It does not matter sometimes what you know, it's who you know. So you really want to make sure you know the right people, and then you can back it up, hopefully, with the knowledge. But so what was your first job in LA?
My first job in LA. So I met these filmmakers and I helped them produce this like presentation for a TV show starring was an actor named Jamie Kennedy. He was trying to put together a show. So I did that for like the summer. And then my first, I guess, job was being an assistant story editor on a reality show called The Secret Life of the Soccer Mom. It was a show produced by GRB for Fox. It was a pilot we were producing. So I did that for like the rest of the summer. And then my first job, which I was there for many years, was at a company called New Regency, which is a big film and TV production company.
Yeah. So, and I always tell people when I went to the movies and saw the big R, I was like, oh, that's it. And so I think it was when you were at New Regency, you were giving us all these movies. I was like, oh, yes, we watch movies. We'll take movies.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of free DVDs.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were like, oh, yes, we love to watch movies. So we have a nice collection. So my sister asked, how long have you been in LA?
Yeah, so I have been, if I include my year of school, please forgive my dog. She's alive. She'll settle down. I've been here probably 15 years, maybe 16 years.
Okay.
A long time.
It has been a long time. So LA is so, like I tell everyone, LA is so different than a whole lot of places, but it is so not the Midwest.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how people acclimate to that lifestyle.
You know, for me, I was so like career driven. It was like Hollywood and the businesses here. I was just so focused on that. I was excited to be here. You know what I mean? It was definitely different. The people are different. But I was just excited to be in the mix and learning and figuring it out. So I would say the first, 5 years were kind of a breeze because I was just in it and learning and like figuring it out. I didn't get caught up in a lot of the, this doesn't feel like home or the people feel weird, right? I was just like, we're working, I'm in the business, hustling. So it wasn't that hard for me. I have friends who had a much harder time adjusting.
Gotcha. So, and then also there's a lot of Detroiters in Hollywood now.
Oh yeah,
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons. I mean, I was talking to one of my guests recently was April Watkins. She's a set costumer. And she was saying how she almost ended up on All Rise. And, Simone McKissick is from the Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was telling her we love that show. I solely started watching it because I knew she was from Detroit. And I was like, I have to watch this. But yeah, there's so many Detroiters in LA now. I even had a little brunch one time when I came to LA. You didn't make it, but it was all Detroiters.
Oh wow. They used to do like a picnic every summer of Detroit. It'd be like 1,000 people there.
Oh wow.
Mainly from the industry that would gather at this park to kind of meet up, like a barbecue.
Oh nice.
I don't think still do it. It's been a while. So
okay. So what, because you've done some very amazing things every step of the way. So what are some of the big things that you did at New Regency?
Well, they're kind of boring things, but I learned a lot in New Regency. I was doing home entertainment, which is at that time you were selling DVDs and Blu-rays, and the business was transitioning from physical to digital, like iTunes when that was more of a thing, and then obviously Netflix. So just seeing that transition was fascinating. Also, the transition to mobile devices and the advent of or the proliferation of high-speed internet with like YouTube and social media. It was just a really crazy time to see that transformation. So I was really involved in a lot of really rights conversations, how we had to kind of re-engineer our deals to clarify who owned the rights to digital releases. Since it was physical at one point, it was transitioning. It was a big kind of process, a year-long process, in fact, figuring out who controlled what distribution rights in our library. So very boring stuff, but for me, it was a really, really big project and fascinating to see how all that kind of sorted itself out.
And so when did you, what's the office? Me and my parents came and visited you. That wasn't New Regency, was it? It was at the Fox something?
Yeah, it was New Regency.
That was? Okay.
Yeah. For those that don't know New Regency, I mean, they are a really prolific company, over, 100 plus movies they have produced and financed and 40 or 50 TV shows. They were really, really big company, especially in the early 2000s.
Yeah. So I remember when that was New Regency, 12 Years a Slave, right?
Yeah, 12 Years a Slave, Birdman, The Revenant, but also things like Big Mama's House and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I mean, so many great movies.
But I remember 12 Years a Slave, your mom called and said, we can go to the screening. And my mom's like, what? And I said, oh, Mom, you should go. Mind you, I go to screenings every other week. But I was like, oh, Mom, this is so cool. Your first screening.
Yeah, I think our parents felt like it was almost a premiere. It was in Michigan. I think they had dressed up for it.
Right.
They had a great time.
They did. So that was really cool. But so yeah, and his mom always includes my mom, and she's like, oh, and then she's like, and if we go to the Oscars, I was like, oh, I will be glued to the television. So it's so funny because I like when I ran across your so when you left New Regency, where did you go next? I want to skip.
Yeah, so I was at Regency for about 8+ years. When I left the company, I was heading business development for them. But then I left to go to Fox proper. So New Regency's films were distributed by Fox. So we were based on the Fox studio a lot. When I left New Regency, I went to go work for Fox for almost 2 years, helping them kind of rebuild one of their divisions there. And then I left that to start my own company for the first time with 2 partners, Baron Davis, who former NBA player, and another friend of mine, Zen in Clifton. We started a company called No Label, focused on multicultural film and TV development.
And so with this company, you worked with influencer and not social media like stars, right?
Well, I was doing more of that at Fox.
Okay.
The Fox division we were making movies with social media stars when that was, we thought, potentially a good business model. But with Baron, we were doing a lot of different things, but we were focusing a lot on films around young or contemporary music artists.
Okay.
People like Travis Scott and many others. Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. So now how do you make the decision because I still can't see not working for me, but how do you make the decision to go from that to where you are now? That was next, right?
Well, I took a little break. So I've had No Label for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then a really good friend and mentor of mine, Sanford Panich, was president of Columbia Pictures, which is a label of Sony. It's Sony's big movie label. So he asked me to come there and join their studio team. So I went over there as a vice president of production, developing movies for Sony. So I had a lot of great movies in development. I brought over Steph Curry, helped him launch his company, which we did a deal with them at Sony. And Issa Rae, we did her first movie deal. I did a 5-picture deal with Issa Rae, and really just worked with a great group of young and old filmmakers trying to find that next big hit. Awesome.
So how did you decide to leave and to go to Hartbeat?
Yeah, it was a really, really hard decision. I was under contract at Sony, and I was treated really well there and had great friends there and great bosses there. But, Kevin Hart is a kind of a singular talent, arguably the biggest comedy star in the world. And he had a very clear vision for where he wanted his company to go. And I bought into that vision, hook, line, and sinker. Had some of my own ideas as well. And, after a lot of deliberation and prayer, I decided it was the best move for me.
Cool beans. So somebody asked me, so how does one end up on Kevin's radar to even get the position?
I mean, so we talked about me being in the business 16 years. You meet a lot of people, you get to know a lot of people over that time. And if you're hustling hard, you just know people. So yep. I think there were some people we had met before socially, but really briefly. And someone suggested to him, I think it was one of his agents or manager. And I flew down to see him in Montreal. He was shooting a movie there. And we just really, really clicked. I think I went down there twice.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to know the right people.
Right. That's what I figured. I tried to tell people, but folks are like, whatever, you're just saying words. I'm like, no, I really do believe that's what it is. But so it's so funny. I get text messages and I'm like, what? And then my sister sends me this Instagram. I go, oh my God, Bryan, you're like famous. Like Kevin Hart posted you on his Instagram.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You and Mercedes, and two people I usually end up screaming when I see. And Mercedes, she's like, always texts me back, "You're the only person besides my parents who gets so excited to see my name." Like, because you're my babes. But and Mercedes, you guys, is was Ava DuVernay's assistant, is now is like killing things with Ava's independent movies stuff, and she's just doing amazing things. But yeah, so I'm always excited because those are the people's names I see usually. I'm like, oh. So, of course, you know, your mother texted me this week to tell me about the documentaries. The funniest thing is that I saw that because Datari Turner is one of my Facebook friends.
Yeah.
I just didn't read. But you know what he did? He took screenshots of the article. So therefore, it didn't have the whole article and there was no link to it.
Right.
So when your mom sent it, I go, this looks really familiar. I think I saw this somewhere. And I go, oh, I know where I saw it. And then I read it and was like, oh my goodness. And I show my mom. And so that is so cool. I think that those documentaries, if you guys don't know, they're called, what is it called? Call It?
They're called #1 on the call sheet. So we're doing 2 documentaries for Apple. And it's Kevin Hart and Jamie Foxx are producing with Datari Turner. We're also doing, so it's 2. We're also producing with Angela Bassett and Holly Berry and Reggie Hudlin as well. So there's 2 documentaries. One is about Black men in Hollywood that have made it to the top of the call sheet. That's essentially saying they were the biggest star on that set. And that's a very hard thing to achieve. So we're going to have these men talking about their struggles and tribulations in Hollywood to get to that place. And then we're doing the same format for women as well. That's the one that Angela and Holly are producing with us. So we're really excited about it. It's an Apple original film production, and it'll debut on Apple TV Plus sometime probably next year. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, so you guys, if anyone reads deadline.com, it's on there. It just was everywhere. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it says he's executive producer with Reginald Hudlin. If you guys don't know, Reginald Hudlin is one of the Hudlin brothers that brought us House Party. So
Reggie's also producing the male version of or directing rather, the male version as well. So we're super excited about Reggie.
That is really cool. And Apple TV Plus has some really, really great programming I've been noticing.
They do.
Yeah, they really do. So, first of all, the last time we actually spoke was when we talked because of all the craziness going on last year with the riots.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he's in LA. I was in Chicago. Both our cities are burning down outside our doors. Yeah. Thankfully, the way that I was set up, it wasn't affecting me. But I remember you said you had to get out of there because it was just getting insane.
Yeah, I live, I'm at my house now. I live really close to Melrose, like literally a block. And it was a lot of violence and eventually police clashing with protesters. And then eventually looting and fires. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're back in your home though. And I'm glad that we didn't have any civil unrest this week because God is good. Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
We have a few more fights to go, unfortunately, and we hope we can keep civil unrest down for that as well. But yeah, justice for George Floyd was seen this week, so God bless it. Now we still just have to get through sentencing, though.
Yeah.
But so what would you say? There's somebody that said that she wants you to meet. She wants your son to meet you. But what would you say to a young man, especially in Detroit, that has this dream of Hollywood, which everyone thinks is just this huge, monster, and it's like, how do I tackle that?
I mean, I think it's like with any dream. I've met a lot of successful people, not just people in Hollywood, it's all kind of industries. I just think it takes a lot of determination and a lot of focus. And some brains. I mean, I think most people, I always say this, if you want a career in Hollywood, you absolutely can get one. Now, whether you are the biggest star in Hollywood or just somebody who can pay your bills, it's possible. But it would require you to put in the work and to stay focused and to not give up. Because I've been here 16 years. I've seen a lot of people come and go, And those that don't make it are just the ones that, can't survive. They just
they didn't want it bad enough.
They didn't want it bad enough, right? And I think it's also harder, you know, if you have family or friends all over the country, and LA is so expensive, and a lot of the jobs early on pay no money. So you start seeing your friends have families or get a house or whatever, or, you know, it's easy to lose sight of the dream. You know, there's big stars in this town that didn't pop until their 40s, you know, but they worked at it 20, 30 years before they had real big success. So I just think you have to be really, really, really focused. It sounds like such a simple thing, but it's really not. So many people can't put in the work. You know, it's easy to be tired at night and not go out, right? Or if you're going out, you're only going out just to party, but not really to network, right? Um, you know, there's sacrifices you got to make with anything to be successful. And most people, quite frankly, aren't strong enough to sacrifice all the fun, all the different things, right? So it's really up to you. How bad do you want it?
Exactly. So you guys, the craziest thing, so in case you didn't know, I do PR, and so I used to do PR for entertainers. So I would call Bryan and say, so-and-so's my client. Do you have any projects that they'd be great for, blah, blah, blah. So we were talking about my clients. Bryan says, do you want a TV show? And I was like, you're losing focus, sir. We're supposed to be talking about my clients. And literally that's what I said. And for years, I think it was like another 3-4 years, I didn't say nothing else about it. I go back to him and say, so if I did want a show, what would I need to do? And he says, you need to start a blog. So you guys, next year, I think is 12 years of my blog. Isn't that crazy? Do you remember telling me that?
Yeah, I do. That's crazy. 12 years.
12 years. AskDrRenee.info started 12 years ago in May. And he was like, you need to create content. And, you know, I was like, okay, if you say so, I'll just, and I was horrible, you guys. I am not consistent, but what I built, because he knew I did do social media well, I built my social media so well that brands work with me because they know that I have the social media behind the place, having a blog, a place to put stuff that they want to put, videos or whatever. So it has worked out. So, you know, it worked out, and I'm still working on the show, but we'll get it soon. I keep telling everyone he keeps doing movie stuff. And I'm like, if he would just get into talk shows, I'd be it.
Yeah, working on it. Maybe I think next year more studio shows.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, it was funny that he said that, and I was like, I'm not supposed to be talking about me. We're supposed to be talking about my clients. And then I was like, you know, maybe I should ask him, what do I need to do? But and then also that's how I got that lovely meeting with that very big person with the TV show, because I was like, Bryan, I am clueless. I can't find this person's email address. Well, I know I can ask such and such. And sure enough. And I was like, this is her personal email address. And I said, well, you have a whole lot to lose. And you could gain a whole lot, and you have nothing to lose. So you might as well just send it and see what happens. And she emailed 20 minutes later. And you guys, this lady is the head of a major show. And I was like, oh my God. But, and we had a wonderful meeting. That was another thing. Bryan's like, well, how long were you in there? I was like, I don't know, about an hour. He goes, oh my God, they must have loved you. I was like, what? He goes, oh no, in Hollywood, if they don't like you, you are in and you are out. And I was like, oh.
Very true. Hours of thought. That's a meeting. That's a real meeting.
Yeah. And then when she set up the next meeting and I said, well, these are the people I'm supposed to meet with, Bryan is supposed to be calming me. You guys, he goes, well, I don't know if there's anybody above these people at the network. I was like, okay, but you were supposed to be calming me down. Now I am nervous, Nelly. What am I going to say to these people? You guys, that meeting turned into an hour and a half. I was like, oh my, what am I doing? But at least I know a lot of people in California. I too have family there too. So I was like, if I go to California, at least I won't be lost. But yeah, but I tell everyone now, I'm convinced that the TV industry is everywhere. You know, they shoot so many things in Chicago.
Yeah.
They started shooting stuff in Detroit, and hopefully they'll start shooting more stuff in Detroit again, because it disappeared for a minute because of the governor, but hopefully it'll come back. You know, Atlanta has a whole lot of stuff going. So I don't think you have to be in Hollywood for what I want to do. So perhaps I won't have to go to Hollywood. We'll see. We'll see.
They're shooting everywhere now. Yeah, especially talk shows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, we'll see. And then shoot, the pandemic, people are shooting from their homes.
Yeah, they are.
You know? So So do you suggest that people have to major in something that is in line like you did with production, or do you think they could major in something else? Because obviously you and I both know a whole lot of people in Hollywood that have, there's teachers, there's all sorts of people.
Yeah, I think there's still a perception that you just need a degree. Doesn't matter what the degree is in. I think most major companies require that. Although maybe it's changing a bit, but I think they still require it as just a basic level of entry into any job. With that said, I know probably at least half the people I know did not major in media at all.
Wow.
Some other profession. So I would say just get a degree. I think it just proves that you're going to finish something, you can accomplish something. That's still important. I think if you want to do actual production, you can go to film school, right? However, you can learn everything online now. I mean, it's all on YouTube. It's all online. It's going to be free, right? I mean, there's nothing you cannot learn on YouTube, quite frankly. So, but it's up to you. But one thing you can't get on YouTube as well is just a network of people. So you go to film school, you'll meet like-minded people, and you'll be able to collaborate on projects and potentially build relationships that can take you the rest of your career. So that is definitely the value you're paying for, and maybe also access to an alumni network.
Yeah, that is good. We spoke briefly about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you guys, is amazing.
Yeah.
If you don't know the people personally, and if you can meet one person and they ask them to introduce you to somebody else, that's another great way. And plus, LinkedIn, I keep telling people, you can put your whole portfolio on LinkedIn. So if you're a filmmaker, make a movie and make sure it's on YouTube or something and put it up on LinkedIn. The show that I have that's in 45,000 doctors' offices across the country and in Walgreens was because they saw my videos, these videos, the Ask Dr. Renee show. They saw I was a doctor and they saw I was a host.
Yeah.
So now I have a show, Out of Office with Dr. Renee. So it solely was because they saw me on LinkedIn. They reached out to me through LinkedIn. So I keep telling people, do not sleep on LinkedIn.
That's right.
Great way to network and to, meet people. And then you'd be amazed. Some people, will connect with you without really knowing you, but when you send them a message, they'll respond. You just have to try though. I always tell people to try.
Like I'm not really on Instagram or Facebook, but I am on LinkedIn, and I will occasionally look at the messages.
Occasionally. Well, some of us are so big that we don't have to pay attention to them. But I've never been so thankful that I paid attention, because that day that came, I'm like,
yeah.
Huh? And then I looked at the company and I go, oh, wait a minute. She might be right. This might work. And I still didn't know they were in Chicago. And then she's like, well, can you come in next week? And I was like, she goes, we're downtown. Oh, okay, sure.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. And she's like, we need to do a screen test. Of course, I'm like, okay, I've heard the words. No idea what it is. But I was like, we will figure this out in time to get there. And so I go, well, Mom, I guess I didn't blow it because they want me to start filming. She's like, okay. And I think of all the projects I've done with them, I think only one time I read a teleprompter. The rest of the time, they relied on my medical knowledge to ask the right things and to say the right stuff. So I didn't have anything written out. So it all worked out. But so as far as what exactly do you do for Hartbeat Productions?
Yeah, so I'm president of Film and TV. I am also Kevin's producing partner. So I produce the things that he does on the film and TV side. Some things include him. Some things don't include him. And I manage our team of executives. So we have amazing executives on the television side, amazing execs on the film side, and amazing execs just on our business side as well. As well as I work closely with his personal agents and managers too. So yeah, I run his company. Best way to say it.
So what project? Wait, first I have to say, if you guys have questions, you need to type them in. Don't forget we have super chat and super stickers, so then they will pop to the top so I see them. But yeah, if you have questions, type them in. But what projects do you guys have currently either on TV or coming out this summer or whatever?
Yeah, so on the TV side, we just wrapped season 2 of Dave, which is on FX. If you haven't seen it, it's an amazing show, hit show for FX. It also is on Hulu. Check it out. So we just wrapped season 2 of that. We just wrapped our 3rd cycle of Celebrity Game Face, which is a show we do for E! It's a game show, Celebrity Game Face. Check that out. We just wrapped a new show we're doing, which we did announce it. Yes, for Motor Trend. Sorry, make sure you announce it for Motor Trend, which will debut probably this summer. It's a car show. It's a reality show featuring Kevin and some of his best friends. And then we also just wrapped a series we're very, very proud of for Netflix. It's a thriller, drama thriller starring Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes, written by the prolific Charles Murray and Eric Newman. And Eric Newman created Narcos. That's going to be probably later this year, but it's going to be an amazing show we're really, really proud of. And then we have a few other things on the TV side that we haven't announced yet that may go into production later this year. On the film side, we're in prep on our first film under our new Netflix deal, which will start in August, a comedy featuring Kevin, another big star, which we haven't announced yet. So look out for that. And then we're releasing a film, Fatherhood, which we produced with Sony. It's going to release on Netflix, though, this Father's Day. And that's presented by the Obamas. So we're really excited about that. And Kevin as well. And then we have a couple other things that will start production this summer, including the docs that we mentioned earlier, and another scripted project that we haven't announced yet as well. So it's been really, really busy this year already and last year, but it's all great.
That's cool. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, Hollywood stopped. And I go, I don't think so. I said, a lot of people I know are working.
Yeah, it's been really busy, I got to say. I mean, there's moments where production, people had to figure out how to do that because of COVID. But the town quickly figured it out. It definitely has been different than ever before. All the protocols and the social distancing and the testing. I mean, I was tested 4 days a week, every single week. I mean, it's really intense, but hopefully there's going to be an end in sight.
Quiet as kept. I've never had a COVID test.
Good for you.
So
I think I paid 50 or something.
I did an asthma study and they had to do a nasal swab.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed because I literally pulled her hand out of my nose. And after I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to touch you. I'm so sorry. But I felt like you were scratching my brain and I couldn't do it. So for that reason, I stayed in my apartment for 14 weeks because I was like, what I'm not doing is getting tested. I'm not getting COVID. I didn't want to wear masks. So I was like, I will just sit right here.
Yeah, I only have one of those kind of tests. The other tests have been pretty easy. They have these lighter nose swab and they have these saliva ones that are a lot more user friendly. So
I was like, dear God. But yeah, I felt for those that had to keep testing over and over, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Like even my dad, oh, poor man. I'm like, you're just used to it now, huh? So someone said Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart transitioning more into film and less in comedy?
So it's a question less comedy?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think, he did like The Upside, right? With Bryan Cranston a few years ago. I think he'll always do comedy, but he'll, if it's the right project, do things that aren't comedy as well.
Okay. So then you guys have to please tell me you guys saw the documentary, the Kevin Hart docuseries. It was really good. It was on Netflix, right?
The Don't Fuck This Up. Yes,
yeah.
It was on Netflix.
It was so good, but Bryan was in it, and I watched it here with my mom, and I was like, "Mom," she's like, "I see."
Very briefly, yes,
very briefly, yes. But you guys were celebrating. I think you got a deal with NBC or something. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Random thought that I remembered, but yeah, but that was really cool. Please watch it. That was a really good series. One of my friends was like, you know, it really showed a different side of Kevin with his family and stuff. His dad, very interesting.
We're really proud of it. We got an Emmy nomination.
Oh
really,
wow!
yeah,
I didn't know that. But yeah, check that out. So do you have anything that you worked with that's coming up with this Oscars? That's it's on Sunday, right?
Tomorrow. Yeah. It is this weekend. We no,
Okay.
no, we have nothing in the awards, but I know a lot of those people, and we're working with some of those people, so it'll be great to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they do the Oscars with the social distancing. The Grammys was very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see how they do this. Kelly Carter, who is one of our fellow Spartans, is covering it. She works for The Undefeated, and so she was on GMA today. She was on GMA3 yesterday, and so she's been talking about how all the testing and how different it is. So it'll be very interesting to watch. And I unfortunately have not seen Judas and the Messiah, and I've heard that it's excellent. But I hope that it does well, because I know it talks about Chicago, which is the reason why I really would like to see it. But I haven't seen it yet, but I will have to check it out. So do you still watch movies?
I do when I can. I just saw Nobody, I think it's called, starring a man from Better Call Saul. Sorry, I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me in a second.
Okay.
I'm going to see a movie today. I'm going to see, I think, Mortal Kombat today.
Okay, I saw people talking about that on Facebook. Not my type of movie. I'm trying to think movies as far as theater. I think the last one I saw was the Tracy Ellis movie where she sang, Tracy Ellis Ross. Forgot what it's called. But she sang in it and it was really good. Ice Cube is in it. I think it's one of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a good movie. That's the last movie I saw. But I've been seeing all these movies that have come out on live streaming. So I saw Genius Aretha, which was on Nat Geo. I saw that. That was more of a series. Oh, we saw the Tina Turner documentary.
Right, we're working with one of those filmmakers, TJ. We have a project with him. He directed that. Co-directed. Okay. Great doc.
Well, that was very good. I still have to see Billie Holiday. Mm-hmm. And there's another one I have to see, and I forgot what it was. It was another one.
Night in Miami. Did you see that?
Yes, have to see that too. Yes.
Yeah.
Alicia said Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, Bob Odenkirk. Phenomenal actor. From the same people who did the John Wick movies. So it's, a lot of action. I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah, see, not my type of hype. But so where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
I don't know. I think I've never been someone to quite look that far ahead. I'll probably still be in the business. Hopefully still, at Hartbeat. I think, just producing bigger movies and more TV series.
Okay. It sounds like a plan.
It's hard to say, right? Because the world changes so much. Like 10 years ago, 2011, so many things didn't even exist, right? There was no Apple Plus, right? There was no HBO Max. Like the world, is changing so rapidly. It's hard to say, right?
I saw Will Packer on The Real this week, and he said that, oh Lord, I forgot the name of the theater, is not reopening in LA. Yes. I went to that. I think it was that one. I went with my cousins and we saw, it was a movie with Cedric the Entertainer, and it was the Chris Rock movie, I think.
Okay. Top 10.
Top 5. Yes. I think that's the movie we saw. And so he was saying how he doesn't see theaters dying down. What do you think?
I think that's true. I think people want to get back to theaters. They want to get back to being socially active, and that includes theaters, right? I do think, though, there'll be a lot more options for first-run movies, meaning, I think you'll see a lot more big movies in the theaters the same day. You're going to find them on a platform like HBO Max, for example. I do think that people like watching things from home. but they also want to see bigger spectacles with an audience. So it's going to be different, but I don't think they're going to go away.
Awesome. Yeah, I do like the theater experience. I'm cheap, and so when it started getting very expensive, I was like, this is ridiculous. I did Big Brother, Big Sister, and when I tell you, I would drop like $30 and I only had one child.
Yeah.
I was like, between the tickets for both of us in downtown Chicago, and then she has to eat. I don't even eat, but she has to eat. She wants to eat something.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And drink, you know.
I mean, I do think, yes, sometimes the industry has lost sight of, you know, the average income in the country is still, I think, under $75,000 a year.
Right. And for families to be able to go and enjoy the movies, it's
expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people want the convenience of watching these films from their home.
Yeah. And like I said, I can understand. My biggest thing was every time a Tyler Perry movie came out, it would come out at a holiday season, and I would be back in Michigan, and me and my dad would go because no doubt that holiday my mother would be working at the church. So me and my dad would go, and because he had a senior discount, and we go to the matinee anyway, you know, then it wasn't that expensive, and neither one of us needed to eat. So we were like, we'd have so. But yeah, so I'm glad to see. I'm really, when I saw the shows coming back, I said, okay, movies will start to be made, and they'll start to put them out, and you know, because just these are people, they need to eat too, so they got to get paid, you guys. So we need to support. And why not laugh and take yourself out of the true world of this pandemic, and you know, take just like Genius, Aretha, Tina, all of these stories were like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness, the things that these ladies went through.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I think people want to get out the house. So
yeah. So I mean, when they opened here in Michigan, I know that we had people that we knew that went to the movies, and then you've heard about a lot of people renting the whole theater, so then they didn't have to worry about germs, and they were having, you know, celebrations at the movies. So I think that the movie industry is going to be okay, and AMC stock will keep going up. I didn't do that play, but I did see it on a list last week that it was going up. So clearly, somebody knows something, and so I think that movies are going to be here to stay. But if no one has any questions, then Bryan, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
No, of course. Great
and yes, I so appreciate it. And somebody said Cali, baby. But thank you so much. And you guys, please, you can follow him. You can find him on LinkedIn, as he said. He does have an Instagram account. He does have a Facebook account, but he's just not very active. But you will remember the name. And when you, wait, Royale Watkins says, wait. He says, that's it? He's so silly. Royale, who has been on the show 4 times. I don't know if you knew that, Bryan.
I did not know that.
My one guest who has been on more times than, shoot, he's almost about to beat me, right? But yes, 4 times he's been on the show. And he was on this season, of course. And like I said, his wife was on as well. But
Royale, what up? We have a movie together.
Oh, yay! Okay, neither one of you decided to tell me that? Okay. But when I posted, though, on Instagram, Royale was like, my man. And I was like, yes, he, like you, took time out of his busy schedule to spend time with me. So I appreciate it. But yeah, and you guys, Royale Watkins, if you haven't seen that episode of the Ask Dr. Renee show, is killing it. 1 Million Things, 1 Million Little Things. Awesome show. And he is one of the writers this season. And the show is just amazing every week. I usually text him after I watch. I forgot this week. I have to text him, but the show is so good. And I saw your name on the screen again and screamed, of course, Royale. So, but you guys have to watch it. But yes, check out these movies. Let's support. Kevin Hart is hilarious. And yes, he has done some great serious roles too, but he always brings a laugh. And you guys, we need laughs in this day and age. So check out the stuff. Try and support. Let's support our own. Support a fellow Detroiter, for the Detroiters in the house, the Midwesterners in the house, my Chicago peeps. And you guys, I will see you guys next week. Next month, there's a whole lot going on. And if you are on my email list, then you'll know ahead of everyone else. But stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Same place.
Thanks, Doc.